Cloudcast Media.
Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and been trying to get this gentleman on for a while, and he is here now. That's great. He is the CEO and president of the YMCA of San Diego County, Todd Tibbits. How you doing there, Todd?
Great, Drew. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. And welcome to our show, Spotlight on the Community. We're the nation's longest-running community podcast now, 18 years, and honored to have as my co-host, Renato Paiva. He is the executive director of the iconic Access Youth Academy, and there's some connections with the YMCA. Renato, thanks for sticking around and joining us.
Thanks, Drew. Hey, Todd.
Hey there. Good to see you.
Very good. How long you been with the YMCA of San Diego County?
I've been with the Y of San Diego County just over 2.5 years.
But only 32 years with the Y in general, correct?
Just 32.
So you were the child labor laws being broken? Is that the idea?
I wish.
Talk about the mission of the Y.
I can talk about the mission of the Y with great passion. So when you're looking at the San Diego Y, to nurture a healthy spirit, mind, and body so all can thrive while honoring our faith-based history. Our Y is over 140 years old, has great roots in this community, great legacy, and has been committed to serving all that entire time.
Now, are you the longest? Is this the largest Y in the country or second largest? I know at one time it was like the second largest in the country. Is that correct?
Yeah, when you talk in terms of revenue size,
right,
we are the largest Y in the country.
Right, exactly. And the Ys stretch from where to where? To Oceanside, down to Imperial Beach, to the east and to the west? Where is that?
When you consider the service area of our Y, we're called the YMCA of San Diego County. So our service area includes every inch of San Diego County, but also Imperial County is part of our service area.
Right.
Currently, we don't have any services reaching into Imperial County, but we're certainly considering how we can impact that community as they start to grow and get more resources in Imperial County as well.
Yeah. Were you a Y kid when you were growing up? Did you go to the Y?
My dad was, the quick answer is just a few times.
Okay.
I grew up in a small town in Michigan. My dad was a camp director.
Right.
So I grew up with essence of the Y vibe, but not truly a YMCA, but it was certainly in my blood.
Right. Now, Renato is from Brazil, nationally recognized squash player. That's the essence of Access Youth Academy, squash and academics, and they're just really off the charts on what they do. But have you been to a Y out here in San Diego County?
Yes, not only been to Y, we're very close to Jackie Robinson Y, and we have a board member that Robert Ito.
The board chair.
Exactly. So we're very close with Anna and the folks there. Question I have for you is, how many Ys do you have in our region?
Currently, when you consider a facility as a YMCA, there's 14 locations as what I would say what people would refer to as the gym and swims, Jackie Robinson being one of those throughout the entire county. We have 3 overnight camps, 2 up in Julian, Camp Surf down in Imperial Beach. And then when you consider childcare and the number of locations, it's almost 200 locations throughout the entire county, serving thousands of children.
And you partner with a lot of the schools, correct?
Over 80.
That's right, exactly. And so there actually will be some things going on at whatever those schools are, YMCA services or working with the kids and so forth, right?
Correct.
We're going to get into your strategic plan. I love it, Drive to Thrive, in a few seconds here. But, talk about something that's near and dear to Renato's heart and yours too, how academics, how education tie beautifully into the Y's mission.
It does. When you consider the YMCA and this notion of for all, a key part of this is youth development. And an initiative that we launched really a couple of years ago as we were coming out of COVID is positive youth development.
Right.
There's a term called ACEs, adverse childhood experience, and there's a lot of evidence-based research and study that's been done on this that talks about these different real significant impacts, a divorce in a household, some form of abuse. There's a number of different things that can negatively impact a child's life, and there's evidence that can track that to their adulthood, diabetes and different things. So what we're focused on is putting a P in front of PACEs, positive events, so positive youth development. And what COVID taught us is, and what it really exposed is the crisis in mental health.
100%.
So that's something we are really, really leaning into.
I'm so glad you brought that up. One of the things that we've been talking incessantly about, and everyone thinks that mental health just started with the pandemic, far from the truth. That thing has been going in this trajectory for quite a while. That Todd being in the field and why for 30 plus years, and Renato, what you've been doing as well. And this crisis, we better find a situation where we can, continue to work on it. You're doing that through the Y and those experiences the kids and their families have, and you're doing it through Access Youth Academy. I think that has to be job one. There's a lot of job ones, of course, on this thing. Nothing more important than mental health, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've talked to some of our healthcare leadership in town, and there's certainly a need for more clinicians.
100%.
But what we also talked about, clinicians are not going to solve the crisis. We have to get upstream,
yes,
and talk about how we can have organizations such as the YMCA, other nonprofit partners, school districts, others, places of faith that are all getting upstream in the form of prevention. You're not going to prevent all of the issues, but there's many we believe we can have positive impact in.
Yeah, without question. We're talking to Todd Tibbits. He is the president and CEO of the YMCA of San Diego County. I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, continuing to raise the bar for more than 6 decades. Honored to be joined by my co-host, Renato Paiva. He's the executive director of the boomingly successful Access Youth Academy. Drive to Thrive. Talk about it.
Drive to Thrive. So I was the CEO in Charlotte, North Carolina, before COVID, and then through the majority of COVID. And my family and I were really excited about the opportunity to come to San Diego in July and August timeframe of 21. Well, what do we know? We were still trying to pull out of COVID, but we were still really navigating it. And what we were fully experiencing at the YMCA specifically was the impact of COVID, where it really impacted our team, where we had to furlough well over 3,000 individuals. Our YMCA lost $20 million through COVID. So when you're talking about this notion of thriving, we weren't there. It was truly survival. Survival financially, survival as far as we talked about mental health,
That's
all
right.
the different considerations that go into the human dynamic and the impacts of that. So what we talked about in August of 21 and the fall of 21, and we launched our strategic plan, is let's recognize we're in this position of surviving. The budget we started with in August or July of 21 on our fiscal year was to lose $8 million. Well, you don't build a plan of prosperity losing that kind of money. So we knew we had to shift the financial, but at the same time, the relevance in the community. We saw an incredible opportunity to shift our organization from survival to thriving. And if we can survive or move to thriving as an organization, we know we can have that impact in community with our vision to be the catalyst to transform lives and community. So that was the drive to thrive. So we recognize in this metaphor, we're going to be on a road. We're not where we want to be yet, but we're going to get there. So thriving has been our focus for the last few years.
How's it going?
It's So good question. A couple of years down the road, the YMCA, just this year, we're pivoting from this notion of surviving to a growth mentality. We have gotten back to break even. So financially,
Congratulations.
We've taken that $8 million loss, and we will, what most nonprofits call a surplus, we call a reinvestment fund.
Right.
So we're in the position now that this year we will be able to reinvest in our team and our facilities and our infrastructure. So we're in a really healthy place. on this. So growth mentality equals thriving.
Right. And talk about, you don't do that without some great collaboration. And San Diego County, and really to the credit of Renato and what he's been able to do since 2006, you get out of the office and you chat with 4 billion people and so forth. Talk about the differences maybe in Charlotte, a great community out in North Carolina, but how did you see the collaboration here in San Diego County?
Very strong. And Bill Geppert, my first board chair, we were talking about him earlier.
Right.
When I first came to town, my first week, he took me around and was introducing me to a number of people. I found leaders in this community incredibly collaborative, incredibly inviting, incredibly accepting, and incredibly open to thinking differently and how we can leverage one another to lift all boats.
Right. We come back from break. Todd, I want to talk a little bit about some of that thinking differently, the rebranding that you folks are doing, and especially focusing on well-being. And I want Renato to talk about they're going to be connecting with a YMCA in Los Angeles that you may be familiar with because of the Olympics. Squash is coming to the Olympics in LA in 2028. That'd be a nice conversation. We return with Todd Tibbits, President and CEO of the YMCA of San Diego County. I'm Drew Schlosberg, Cloudcast Media, joined by my co-host, Renato Paiva, Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. We will be right back.
When you do your banking with Mission Fed, you get great rates on auto and home loans. That's good for you, but something good also happens for a lot of other people. We're not for profit, so we put money back into the community to help lots of great nonprofits to keep San Diego strong. So you're not just getting something good, you're doing something good. Come to Mission Fed. It's banking that's good for all.
Brand amplification is the DNA of Cloudcast Media, and our code is the powerful blending of sound, voice, and storytelling to lift local brands and their communities. Whether it is our Brandcast, Schoolcast, or Causecast platforms, the unifying ethos is all about this community, the one you call home. If you dare to dream and want to explore the brand amplification of Cloudcast, a national leader in local podcasting and other Winfluence strategies, please visit us at cloudcast.us.
I'm Drew Schlosberg of Cloudcast Media, and we are listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight in the Community Show, the nation's longest-running community podcast, now in our 18th year, brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union. For 6 decades, always raising the bar for us folk who live in San Diego County. Honored to have in the studio with us today Todd Tibbits, President and CEO of the YMCA of San Diego County. I'm equally honored to have as co-host Renato Paiva, the Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. Right before break, Todd, we were just talking about a connection that Renato has with the YMCA in LA, and I'll let you tell the story.
So squash just became an Olympic sport. And we have a new program, and by the way, in LA 28, so not the Olympics today, this year in Paris, but the one in 4 years. And we have a new program of Access Youth Academy in LA at the LA Ketchum, the Ketchum Y. We have 3 incredible converted racquetball courts to squash courts in which we host our program there. So I would like to see, do you guys work a lot with sports in a high-end competitive way, or is just inclusion? Has maybe some Olympians come from the Y in the past? And what's the history with competitive sports and the Y?
Great question. So first of all, Victor Dominguez is the CEO of the LAY, a very close personal friend. In fact, last weekend we were just in Ensenada and Valle de Guadalupe together. And Mark Dengler, their COO, so I'm very familiar with the Y. The only question I have is, man, why aren't we doing that in San Diego too? So
we should.
We can talk offline about that.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So So when you think about San Diego County, yes, there's a rich history of Olympians, summer Olympians. But you talk about YMCAs across the country, there's many Olympians that actually got their start at the YMCA or train at the Y. And ECI, our Encinitas YMCA, they have just the most recent Olympics that trained in our pool, and we also had an Olympian who was a skateboarder who trained at the ECI YMCA and actually gave part of her ramps to the ECI YMCA. Nice. So it's part of our skate park at the YMCA. There also, I don't know if you know, there's a gentleman named David Marsh, who I actually met while I was in Charlotte. He was the U.S. men's swim team coach. He lives in California in San Diego now, and he actually is a special advisor to the Israeli Olympic team. So he's actually between here and Berkeley, because one of his former assistants is the Cal Berkeley coach now, so he helps him out a little bit, and they just won the national title.
Yeah. Rich history. I'll just wonder what rich history with the Y in the Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely. So thrilled. I know you guys are going to offline, are going to get together and say, hey, you started here on the Spotlight Show. We like to always do these collaborations. Talk about your rebranding, Todd.
Yeah, so it goes back to our earlier conversation. Right. When you think about the YMCA, you say, what do you know about the Y? Many people might say, well, I learned how to swim at the Y, or something childcare, but typically it is in relation to gym and swim. And that is the case in San Diego, and that's actually the case at most Ys around the country. And that is not necessarily, that's actually a good thing.
Right.
And we're very proud of what we've done in these facilities around fitness and well-being. So we're proud of that. But we also don't want that to completely define us, because we know there's so much more, especially in San Diego, that this YMCA does. So we're going to keep lifting up all we do at these facilities around health and wellness and activities around the gymnasiums and the pool and the fitness centers. But we also want to make sure everyone understands and has access to all of our social services, which is what makes this Y so unique and special. Our child care resource services, our youth and family services, and our extended learning program is so critical to what we do. So with all that in mind, and coming through COVID and the recognition of mental health, yes, we want to keep leaning into physical health, but when you look at the mission of the Y, spirit, mind, and body. It's not just body. So when you think about the rebranding, it's around community well-being and belonging. We feel like we can own that space and need to have a responsibility. We feel responsibility to lead in the space around community well-being and belonging.
Yeah, and I think what's great about this, and I think you do the same thing, Renato, with Access Youth Academy, the Y has always been very benevolent with those families that may not be able to afford some of the services. Talk about that.
So right now, this time of year, we're in our annual campaign.
Right.
And, you're thinking all the challenges of COVID that many people had economically. Last year, we raised the most money in the YMCA of San Diego County in our history, $7.6 million. So, and something that's really special about how Ys raise money, there's no administrative fees in that. Every cent goes back into the local community. So that 7.6 is a tapestry of local events, local campaigns. Last night, I was with the Ryan Family Y from Point Lomas. They were kicking off their $310,000 annual campaign, which is part of our $7+ million total goal this year.
Right.
So that all goes back into the local community. And let me add to that, because
Please.
I think it's special. We talked about Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson, a couple of weeks ago, was totally focused on the annual campaign, on the daily operations of the facility, and then there was a flood.
Yeah.
And they pivoted. So that's what I see as so special about how the Y can respond. In this case, Jackie Robinson, who over the years has done this so magnificently, but how they've stood in the gap when there was a huge gap. And it's not necessarily, you would think of a YMCA's core business of providing housing vouchers. We provided over $300,000 in housing vouchers. 2.5 weeks ago, it wasn't even on our radar. And the funding is coming in. We fronted some of it. We have faith that we'll be able to do that. So Anna Arancibia, our executive there, her team and our corporate team has done such an amazing job of standing up when the need was so great.
Yeah. One of the things that the tentacles you have and the things you do, you could probably talk about between now and then 15 years from now, and I haven't cut half of it and all that. But you really the outreach is huge and very similar what Renato has been doing at the Access Youth Academy. Really, the symbiosis is phenomenal, and I'm glad you guys are going to get together on this. I love the fact that the focus, there are many focuses, but certainly mental health, but positive youth development, that is so important. Talk about that.
So we leaned into this a couple of years ago.
Right.
And what we've identified as we've leaned into this, and we have a foundation, the Annie E. Casey Foundation, that's significantly supporting this work with the goal that we can do proof of concept, have some efficacy and fidelity that's built into that can scale to other parts of the country, with San Diego being a model around positive youth development. One of the things we learned as we started to get into that and frame it, we didn't name it and call it positive youth development, but we were already doing it just by the nature of the team members, the personalities, the DNA of the people that work for us. That's in their heart. That's who they are. So part of it is reframing good work we've been doing for decades.
And that's so true when you see about these things, when you start take a step back, whatever the company is, whatever the organization, Access Youth Academy, the YMCA, and you go, we should come, but aren't we doing this? Well, we've been doing it for 5 decades. How come we're not calling it that? Well, maybe we should call it that.
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time. Todd, what can our listeners do to support your efforts?
So I would say, first of all, learn more about the why. And you can do that on our website, ymcasd.org, and just check it out. Get connected. We need volunteers for sure. We always enjoy and appreciate those that are members of our Y and program participants are Y, and certainly support financially the efforts that are going on. Positive youth development is something that we are leading into. We would not be able to do what we're doing. We have some key donors that have given over $500,000 to support, I'll call it the incubation of what we're trying to create. So certainly financial support would be helpful.
I do want to chime in and say that the Y works with so many other nonprofits and groups around. So giving money to the Y often spills to so many other nonprofits like ours. So the work that you do is just so critical for everyone around.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and that's so true on that. So promise me, Todd, you're going to come back, bring in maybe a family that has benefited from some of your outreach. That maybe because of X, Y, our kids have been able to do X, Y, and Z. There's so much stuff we could have you on every single day for the whole year, for God's sake. But you're a little busier than to come in on that. But would love to have you bring in a family that has benefited from the services.
I would love to do that.
Consider that a done deal. We've been chatting with Todd Tibbits, President and CEO of the YMCA of San Diego County, joined by my wonderful co-host. I've got a new job for you because you're only working 23 hours a day, Renato Paiva, Executive Director of Access Youth Academy. And you've been listening to another edition of Drew Schlosberg Spotlight on the Community Show, the nation's longest running community podcast. Now in our 18th year, thank you, Mission Fed Credit Union, for always stepping up and supporting great work in our community. We hope you enjoyed the show.
You've been listening to an episode of Drew Schlosberg's Spotlight on the Community Show, amplifying the voices of social impact organizations, entrepreneurs, local nonprofits, and other community champions who shape the culture, creativity, and connectivity of San Diego community. Brought to you by Mission Fed Credit Union, bringing good things to San Diego for over 60 years. Learn more about what is good for you and good for all by visiting www.missionfed.com.
Cloudcast Media.